Okay, here we go. So Hong Kong. Hong Kong is in the spotlight. Brand new spot trading program rolled out. It has been approved by the Hong Kong SEC. So when you think about the openness that Hong Kong is showing, I'm going to bring up a couple things, and I want to pose a question to the panel. I'm not going to ask anyone specifically. You guys can just fire off. Hopefully we get a conversation going. But when you think about a new program, like a new spot trading program designed for banks to help retail investors with getting into the cryptocurrency side. And when you think about the increase in digital asset operators, we have more and more exchanges, and we have more operators that are opening up in the Hong Kong area or in the Asian area, in general. I think I read something on Vietnam recently here as well. And then you think of somebody like the Coinbase CEO. Coinbase CEO made a statement, something like he's kind of unsure on if he wants to stay in the United States, given the U.S., given the SEC's, regulations and stuff like that, and the turbulence that seems to be around that aspect. So the first question that I want to ask, and I'm going to open it up to the panel, is Hong Kong ahead of the game, or is the United States behind the game? So I want to ask it again to give you guys an opportunity to think about it. Is Hong Kong ahead of where all the other countries are, or is the United States lagging behind where a majority of the countries are? And I'll open it up to you guys.
Both.
Can we go with both? Yeah,
That's what I was going to say.
Both.
I mean, for me, it's Hong Kong is ahead, right? They're going to probably have one of the first real Bitcoin spot ETFs. They're, a big player, and United States isn't the furthest behind, right? I feel like Europe's the one really crushing crypto, and probably the ones in the far back of the pack. But the United States have their issues too, right? But I think that what we're starting to see is a little bit of a change and shift in momentum here in the United States. The SEC obviously is trying to sue everybody that they possibly can to try to get some control, but we know that they're overstepping their bounds, and we know that we're starting to see both sides of the aisle, which we talked about weeks ago, wanting to create crypto regulation that's smart and that makes sense for everybody. Binance, Coinbase, they've been asking the SEC for years, what is this? What do we need to do? And the SEC is like, you need to, anything that's a security, you need to file. Okay, what's a security? Oh, well, we can't tell you that. We're only the SEC, right? So, there's been a lot of issues here in the United States, but I think we're starting to see a bit of a change, and that's good. We obviously know that this technology is going to be here. If you want to stay financially in the game long-term as a country, you need to start adopting good measures when it comes to crypto. So Hong Kong, they're going to be one of the leaders, right? And then maybe China hops in after that, which is what we mentioned in the Perfect Storm show. But we're starting to really see everything in crypto ramp up. And look, it's a moving ball, and it's strong, and no one is going to be able to stop it. So governments either need to start regulating it and get on board, or these countries are going to miss out, and they're not going to be as financially free. We'll get into it a little bit later, but we already know that the United States is downgraded from a AAA lender to a AA plus lender. So they're losing clout in the world because of how much debt that they're taking on. And we need crypto, man. It's only picking up steam. And if you don't get on board, you're going to miss the train.
You're going to be poor. And, to kind of add on a little bit there as well, Brendan, they're already in the process of making, a spot Bitcoin ETF, but they're also making an Ethereum spot ETF as well. They've even come up with ideas of combining the two for an ETF. So quite frankly, the way that Hong Kong is shaping up right now is they're the guinea pig of the entire world right now. And I know that China has specifically stated that whatever it is that is going to happen in China when it comes to crypto is going to first be out there at Hong Kong. So it's very obvious, and they're being very transparent that, hey, we're going to let Hong Kong be like that little guinea pig. Whatever happens to it, whatever works, we're going to bring over here to China, and we'll open it up that way. But as far as like regulations and all that goes, what was it? Hash key, I believe it was called. They've been doing multiple regulations over multiple different sectors in the traditional space, and they jumped into crypto quite quickly, and they've admitted just how early regulation is in the crypto space. And what they're trying to do is they're working with Hong Kong, trying to create the quite frankly regulations of the world. And so whatever is happening right now in Hong Kong, you need to pay attention, because if it works in Hong Kong, they're going to distribute it to the rest of the world. And unfortunately, the United States of America seems to be, what's the best word for it? Not paying attention. They're trying to do their own thing right now, and they're kind of failing at it. Ultimately, I think what the United States of America is going to end up doing is getting behind and then following, which is sad considering just how amazing the United States has always been, frontiering this type of thing. But we're just falling behind. I don't know, maybe it's Sleepy Joe, but I don't know. What's your opinion there? I know, Jeff, you had something on that.
So this is my thought process, and I could be wrong. Who has the biggest economy on the planet? America. Who has the second biggest one? China. Do you think America is going to sit by and watch China just make all this money and possibly be the first superpower to get in with a new type of technology that could advance them past America? So maybe America is also, like you said, using them as a guinea pig, seeing what happens. And the second they see stuff is kosher and it's working for them, boom, they jump in and just wait for somebody else to take the risk first. But there's a lot of sentiment going around, like you said, about Coinbase and companies, but also people who this is a growing technology, and it's catching on like wildfire. More and more people are going to want to be involved and have the freedom to use it. And I think it's only a time. I'd be very, very, very shocked if America doesn't get on board. Honestly, they almost have to. So the way to continue to be a superpower is to find the new and best next thing and master it and conquer it before somebody else does. Like when biological warfare and stuff like that first started coming to be, like Oppenheimer. What happened? They were racing to see who could make the bomb quicker. So as far as technology goes, you usually want to be pretty quick. So I think that it's going to be regulated. I can't tell you when, but I can't see America letting China beat them to the race. That makes sense.
That's a really damn good point there, Jeff, because my thought process was kind of along the same lines, right? If there was, in this economic race, if there was one thing that China could do to overtake the US as far as the largest economy in the world, it would be if the US dropped the ball on crypto, right? Because they can't square up against us militarily, right? We have the best, most powerful military in the United States, right? That's not going to change anytime soon. But if they were to overtake us on the economic stage, it would probably be in crypto if they dropped the ball, right? And the thing is, I used to think, okay, even if China was ahead of us in terms of cryptocurrency policy, right? Even if they were ahead, the Chinese have a very over history. What do the Chinese do? They copy paste everything, right? They send people here to infiltrate our university. Let me put my little tinfoil hat on, and I'm Chinese, so it's not racist. But they have a habit of copying what everybody else does, right? And so I was like, I'm not really worried about it because they can't fucking innovate. They gotta fucking copy everything. But here's the thing. Because of the lack of regulatory clarity here in the United States, what has the United States done to a lot of these companies that want to innovate? They have pushed them outside of the US into countries like Hong Kong. Josh mentioned it earlier. What did Brian Armstrong state during, I think it was around April? He said that, yes, we are heavily considering moving operations out of the United States and into more crypto-friendly countries. And so what are you doing? The reason why the United States has been able to maintain its place on top of the world stage is because everybody who has any business innovating wants to come here. Right? This is the land of opportunity. This is why people risk life and limb crossing the border, right? Coming here by like a little raft, risk getting deported, because this is the land of opportunity. This is where the innovation comes in. The overwhelming majority of innovation comes comes from here in the United States. And so what's going to happen if you push all of these innovators into different frontiers? You're going to lose your edge. And if the US doesn't, I swear to God, Gary Gensler is a fucking Chinese plant. I swear to God, bro. Gary Gensler is a plant. He works for the CCP. I guarantee you. But if the United States doesn't get their shit together over the next few years, bro, you're gonna get left behind, right? This is like losing. This is equivalent to losing the battle with the internet, right? This is equivalent to losing the space race, losing the ability to develop the atom bomb, right? This is that kind of thing. That's how big it is, right? If you lose this battle because you can't get your shit together in terms of regulatory clarity, you are going to lose that number one spot. I guarantee you, bro. Guarantee you. So don't drop the ball.
Gary, boo.
Yeah,
One aspect that I look at it, and I'll look at it from this angle, is see, I'm a big history guy. I absolutely love history. Is my best subject in high school. I'll still just nerd out on history documentaries all day now when I have the time. But I think back to America's situation in the world right before World War I and while World War I was going on. Now, remember, it took America 3 years to even enter World War I. So there was 3 years of chaos that was going on over in Europe before America even entered the war. It stayed neutral, but it kept its business open. It was open to business across the world while the war was going on for 3 years. And at that time, it was London that was the New York City of the world. It was London that had the commerce, and it was London that controlled the world's financial sector at that time. And what you saw was America's willingness to stay neutral and just being open to all business from every single country during that period led to such a huge wealth transfer into the United States. And it's funny because we're going to be talking about wealth transfer next. But it led to such a vast amount of enrichment in the United States. And then, of course, we go into the 20s, and then in 29, the stock market crashes and all that stuff, and we get into World War II. But even during World War II, in the transition that America made in its factories and all that stuff, and we still had the exports going on at the time because we were open to business. I'm not seeing that same reverend right now when it comes to welcoming the cryptocurrency side into the United States. And I fear what's going to happen is China, through Hong Kong, because what is Hong Kong? It's a surrogate of China, pretty much. I fear that when you look at stuff like that, and today it's Hong Kong, tomorrow it might be Taiwan. It's the region in general that they are opening themselves up to business, and they are opening themselves up to the opportunities that America was doing pre and during World War I, and that's what scares me. Is that wealth transfer that occurred during that period at the beginning of the 20th century happening right now, 23 years into the 21st century, but in another country. So that's the aspect that I'm taking. Does that pique any thoughts, or does anybody have a rabbit hole to go down with that aspect, or do we want to transition to the next topic?
Bro, that is a fantastic analogy. We need to clip that. That was an absolutely fantastic analogy. That's all I had to say, because that comparison between London keeping their America keeping their business side open even during the war, and now Taiwan is the one keeping their business open for crypto during this type of innovation. That was a fantastic comparison, bro. So we definitely need to clip that because that was amazing.
Cool deal. Well, if that's the case, let's go ahead and move on to the next article. Let me go ahead and get it pulled up here. And I believe, Brendan, this is yours, right? So I'll go ahead and give a couple sentences on it, then I'll turn it over to you. Does that sound good? All right, cool. So, yep, Ray Dalio is back in the news. I absolutely love Ray Dalio. First time I ever got introduced to him was a Tokyo Crypto show. It was MLD and Charlie doing a show where they played Ray Dalio's Changing World Order or something like that. Anyway, absolutely love Ray Dalio. I think he's very smart, and I pay attention to a lot of the content that he says. And what he's saying here, it's not like groundbreaking. You know what I'm saying? When you think about it, you think of the amount of wealth that has been accumulated by the boomer generation just in the real estate world. Now you got to figure, boomers were from 46 to, I believe it was 69.